people may remember that a couple of shows back when I was hosting, we got, and I do identify the show at the blog, and possibly the call is marked now, thanks to Justin.
Probably is.
So we had a caller, Alex, from Hawaii, who had a method to see Jesus, and the method never failed. And by the end of the call, he told me that if I followed everything he had described in the call, I would see Jesus. And so my understanding is that everything required was in that call. So if somebody is interested in taking the Alex from Hawaii challenge and doing this themselves, you can go and listen to that call. You can hear what the protocols are, and you can test it for yourself. Just heads up, it's going to be a week of kind of an ascetic existence where you're not going to be using your phone, you're not going to be having sex, you're not going to be online. So there were some rigorous protocols to it, and I went ahead and set up. I reached out to a large community of atheists that I know and asked if anybody was willing to do it. I described what was described in the call. I went back and listened to the call again. I put down all the do's and don'ts and said, is anybody up for this? And a few people said they would be up for it. They would be happy to give it a shot. So they went ahead and did this. I went ahead and set up a survey for them afterwards, just kind of getting their feedback on, what the experience was like and what they did or didn't do. And so just as a brief description of the intro to the survey, I put each survey subject was asked to follow prescribed protocols as part of this manifestation test. The purpose of these questions is to determine whether protocol requirements were successfully met. Instructions provided to the subjects were as follows: state, quote, Jesus Christ, if you're real, come show me that you're real, unquote. Number 2, abstain, again, for entertainment purposes, not barring you from work or necessary interactions. And Alex did make that clear during the call that you could do these things if it's required for your work. So from the internet, TV, movies, music, drinking alcohol, taking drugs, smoking, sex, masturbation, in any form of sexual pleasure for a period of 7 days. And he not only said that you weren't required to fast, but discouraged you from doing so, and said that if you did this, you would see Jesus. And he described some of his experience, and so I put in some questions that asked people about whether or not they had any of these experiences themselves. And I wanted to go ahead and just talk to some of these people about how their week went. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and start with Jason in Missouri. And Jason, you were my subject 2. Are you on the line?
Yeah, how's it going, Tracy?
Hey,
Hey,
good.
Jason.
Good. So you were respondent number 2 on my survey. And let's see. So when I roll down, we've got your questions and answers here. You seem to have now, are you the one that had some difficulty with internet?
Well, I during the week I did a lot of sort of really mundane things, so I actually set up a VPN on my computer, and so I wanted to hit some websites and see how the connection worked. So I did go to like YouTube and stuff, but I didn't.
Okay.
I was really only there to see how well
You were
it worked.
testing equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you weren't running around like entertaining yourself, distracting
No.
yourself. Okay. Was that, as far as you're aware, the only infraction? Or was that even, I mean, I don't call that infraction if you were testing equipment, but.
Sounds like
Right.
work.
Well,
yeah.
it's funny because you're kind of watching yourself really close to see if you do any of these things. I was doing one thing at work, and I just happened to put on some music on my phone, and then after about 2 songs, I was like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to listen to music this week."
Uh-oh. Okay.
So yeah, there was that.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't think I have anything else to confess.
All right. And I'm going to say that I'm pretty sure Alex would consider that a disqualifier. So I'm just going to, throw that down. But let's see. Otherwise, let's talk a little bit about. You said I asked about strong emotional feedback, and you said that you felt happiness when it was over.
Well, I mean, when you're not distracting yourself, it just you feel kind of, I don't know, a little clearer, I guess, about things. So I felt a little bit more focused, I suppose, on the things I wanted to do that I wasn't distracting myself from.
Okay. And at the end of it, in what ways, if any, has this exercise altered your view of God? You said that you are still an atheist. Nothing happened, and you asked Jesus and Yahweh to save you several times each day. You changed your phone and tablet backgrounds to pictures of Jesus. You read the Bible. You listened to the Bible audiobook. And you got no Jesus, no God, no mystical, spiritual, supernatural, religious experience whatsoever. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I've sometimes in the car I'll tune into religious programming just for entertainment purposes, basically.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty familiar with a lot of Christian doctrine and things, and nothing remotely supernatural happened at all. Nothing extraordinary. Nothing actually particularly interesting.
Yeah, I had several questions, and you were just down the line. No. Like nothing, none of this, none of that. Do you have any thoughts on the idea of the test not working and the potential that it could have failed due to accidentally listening to a couple songs?
Yeah, I don't think that, I mean, it's hard to say. It didn't really affect my overall mood or anything as far as, accidentally dripping into a couple of things.
Okay.
I don't think, it didn't really seem to alter the week. I mean, the day before and the day after and the day that I listened to music, I mean, they all seem to be about the same, so.
Okay.
I can just imagine Jesus sitting there saying, damn, if you just hadn't listened to those couple of songs.
He was right there about to tap on my shoulder, and then he's like, oh,
Oops.
there's that music.
Yeah. All right. But you did go through with the rest of it for the 7-day streak, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts on the experience?
No, not really. I have to say, I was, a couple of times I thought, I wonder what kind of experience I'd have to have in order for me to even consider something having been supernatural or consider an explanation that was outside the bounds of normal experience. And I was kind of thinking maybe something might happen because he was so confident about the challenge, but no, just pretty mundane week for me.
So what you're saying is that had you had like a sort of hallucinatory experience or some sort of dream or something, you would probably still just be in, well, that was an interesting experience territory?
Right, and I've watched a bunch of the shows, so I've heard people call in who have, hallucinations or things, and then they seek out natural explanations and eventually find them. So, if I felt compelled to definitively explain a strange experience like that, I would try to seek out a natural explanation first, and I would assume that there would be one before I would accept the supernatural one, I would think.
Yeah, and right now I'm unaware of any explanations that are supernatural explanations, right? Usually it's just this happened and it was magical and there is no explanation, and that's the, quote, supernatural explanation. There's never really an explanation in it. It's like a supernatural cause with no explanation as to how it functions.
Yeah. Just an assumption that it must have been supernatural if I can't figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, and nothing even set me on that path.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your feedback. I appreciate you taking the time to call in. I especially appreciate your week-long sacrifice. And thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Thanks,
okay.
Guys.
Bye-bye. All right, and so next up, what we've got here, I'm going to go to Josh, who is on line 5. And Josh, you also did the See Jesus Challenge, and you did it from Australia, is that right?
Hi, Tracy and John. Yeah, I did it.
Okay.
It was a long week.
Oh, all right, so let's roll through. You were my subject 3, and did you also have some issues with internet or not?
I had 2 little indiscretions with social media, internet on Facebook, because I sent you one very short message.
And I think I sent you back something that said, don't send me messages.
Yeah, I just sent you a very, like a sentence saying, God, I'm bored. And then with 1 day to go, 24 hours to go, I did a status update on my atheist page, basically saying, 6 days in, 24 hours to go, no sign of Jesus yet,
Okay.
See you in 24 hours.
So you posted an update, but you didn't really interact.
No, I just
Okay.
posted an update
Okay.
and that was it. So, yeah, that was my indiscretion on the internet, was 2 30-second messages.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will say that, my interpretation of the call that happened with Alex was that meditative distractions were acceptable because he had noted that he read, like while he was doing his, he had done some reading. And so what I told the folks who took the test was you can engage in activities that are meditative in nature, but not entertaining or distracting in nature. It should be something that helps you focus, not something that hinders your ability to focus. Actually, I said that you were my respondent 3, but you weren't. You were respondent number 1, actually. Sorry about that. And
Okay.
So, you were the first one that gave me feedback. And here's, because I started to read down, I was like, this is not his responses. You said you didn't fast, but interestingly, you abstained from any food you didn't prepare yourself in order to avoid going to restaurants and convenience stores. And you didn't do any TV dinners or anything like that. And you even gave up, I guess I'm assuming caffeine because you say soda, right?
Oh, no, that wasn't me.
Oh,
I basically my week was I worked 7 nights in a row. So I said, well, I'll just do the 7-day challenge over my week at work. So that made it a bit easier. Basically, I slept, went to work during the night, slept during the day, and if I was awake, I was reading the Bible. Didn't watch TV, didn't listen to music, didn't really interact with my kids or my wife.
okay.
I bet they love that.
To do that, I'd have to have come and watch TV or something. So I basically was a hermit for the 7 days.
Okay.
I downloaded the audio book of the Bible, which was
you're the one that did the audio.
To.
Okay.
Yeah. So I downloaded it because I usually listen to podcasts. So I, on the way to work and home, so I listened to the Bible audio book instead.
Okay.
And I read the Bible, New Testament, if I was awake. That was pretty much my whole week.
Okay. All right. And so I think I would put the quote indiscretion in a sort of question mark category there, because while you did post some things, kind of like they were things related to what you were going through. So kind of here's what I'm thinking, here's the experience I'm having, and then you weren't really interactive beyond that. So it was kind of almost like a little diary entry.
Yeah. What else did I do? Oh, as I said in the comments, I changed my phone and tablet screensavers to Jesus.
Okay.
And for the affirmation thing, reveal yourself, Jesus. I did that every morning when I came home from work at 7 o'clock. I'd do it, and when I got up at night to get ready for work, 8:30, I did it as well. So I was doing it twice a day.
Okay.
And then randomly during the day and sort of towards the end of the week, my wife and kids were always asking me if they saw me, have you found Jesus yet? So I'd say the affirmation again and, no Jesus, unfortunately, still an atheist.
Okay. Yeah, I think I must have confused the submissions for the surveys. I think I confused you and Jason, and I was reading off of yours previously, and I don't know why Jason didn't say that's not me. Maybe he's still delirious from the week of no social media. All right. Well, I mean, did you have any other thoughts about it? About the idea? I think you're the one that expressed some thoughts about the potential of problems with picking and choosing. Who gets saved based on internet use or things like that.
Oh, I don't know. It's nothing happened. Nothing happened. That Alex guy reckons he's got a 100% success rate. Well, I'm sorry, dude. If anyone was going to get changed, I'm a lifelong 45-year atheist. I'm open to it. I took the whole week. I did everything I could to follow the rules. And nothing. I had no experiences. And look, if those two messages on Facebook, that message to you and that status update just saying, you know, on board and sees in 23 hours or whatever, if those two messages is what keeps me out of heaven and gives me eternal torture, then Jesus is an arsehole. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, I think that's a valid perspective.
Pretty much.
So,
What else do you want me to do, Jesus? Because...
Well, I appreciate you giving up your week, and I appreciate you taking the time to call up and talk about your experience a little bit. And
that's all right. Glad to do it.
Thanks very much to Joshua in Australia.
And thank your family.
Yes,
thank your family for us as well.
All right. Well, thanks, Joshua.
All right. See you.
Bye. All right. And now I think I'm saving potentially the best for last. This is the one who, if I, read the survey correctly and after my interview with her, like talking to her a little bit about her experience, I think that she probably performed the most, staunchly perfect week.
Okay.
So we're going to go now to, this is Tracie in New York.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, and thank you so much for giving up your week, and thank you for taking the time to call in today.
It's my pleasure.
All right.
I actually hate social media, so that was why I even took it on in the first place.
Which made it really awesome, because I figured there's got to be some people that would fall in that basket. Of course, it was rough that I was looking for them on Facebook.
Yeah.
But, okay, so you did yours, and I'm pretty sure now that I've got the right person. So you abstained from everything that was on the list.
Yep, pretty much.
Pretty much?
I did. So I work in social media.
Right, and work is okay.
Occasionally I had to check my messages, but I wasn't doing anything because I got the gist of what he was wanting out of us, and I felt it would be disingenuous to do things that engaged in my ego, which is like what happens when we're constantly checking our who's like this. And so I did do a couple things on my work profiles, which are not related to me, and that's the extent of what I did on social media. And I did pretty much the first 24 hours was just trying to break that compulsion of hitting the app badges on my phone.
That's an interesting thing in itself. You know what I mean? The whole experience of just disconnecting.
And he specifically allowed
I didn't realize I was touching them. I moved the app badges to a different page, and then I just accidentally would hit other things like PayPal over and over again. So this is how I stopped myself from checking accidentally.
That's
like
awesome.
A zombie brain.
No, that's really interesting. It makes me wonder. Now I almost want to do it just to see how I do without the experience of the social media.
Yeah, it's frightening.
All right, so you did some sleeping, you did some meditative functions, you hiked, you meditated like looking at art, and you did some cleaning, which that type of work and chores has always been put forward as a way to kind of as a purity and a purifying thing. So you did some creative endeavors that are not about entertainment, but more. I mean, I've also in the past, like in college and stuff, I did a lot of art in the studio art program, and so I understand how that is really helps your head. Kind of, it gives you clarity, clears your head.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do photography. I do like street photography. I also go hiking, and I do nature photography, and those. Like getting involved in something like that really distracts me from what's going on in my life. So I think that was kind of what he wanted us to do to get to that point where we're not thinking about ourselves.
Right.
So when I'm in the photography zone or the drawing zone or the going to the museum area of my brain, I'm not thinking about myself. So that's why I did all of those things.
Okay.
And I didn't work at all other than occasionally check. I don't have a job that I go to. So I really was alone pretty much for the entire week.
Yeah. You mentioned that you do freelance. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so according to this, you had no dreams or involving gods. You had no episodes of paralysis. You had no hallucinations. And let's see, heightened levels of emotions. You said it caused a little bit of anxiety regarding being disconnected so severely.
Well, yeah, that was me trying to check those buttons, and it was really just me going, "Oh my God, I just hit that badge again. I have to get it off my phone." So that was giving me anxiety just because I was realizing how attached I am to social media.
Okay, and let's see. No healing episodes. And then, let's see, we asked, did it alter your view of God? You said, I still do not believe, which is one of the options. You said that applies. And you've always been a non-believer. And
Yeah.
let's see. So you've never really been drawn to religion, and you don't claim any...
Well, I've always been fascinated by religion, and I've always... This is why another reason I wanted to do this challenge, and the reason I wanted to talk on air about it was because I want to, like, preemptively swat at this challenger's special pleading to say that I did something wrong or that I'm not really open to this experience, because I have been my entire life. My parents are, I call them atheists. They're atheists, basically, but they don't really care about religion, so I didn't learn about it, but I was always curious about it, and I asked to be baptized when I was 10 years old. And I've gone to all these different religious services, different Christian churches just in the last few years. You know, I've gone to Buddhism temples and Hindu temples, and I've visited the Hare Krishnas and the Scientologists. I've done all of these things, and I meditate regularly, and sometimes I take hallucinogenic drugs, which happen to duplicate the same thing in your brain that religious experiences do, but I've never been able to actually see God. And so I felt like this is unfair. I've done everything I can, and I've begged God, if you're real, show yourself to me, and he's not done that to me. So, I mean, I'm talking to a bunch of people who are atheists, and you all understand where I'm coming from on this. And I don't think any of this is real, but, you know, I've given it every chance.
Well, I can read from your final response on the survey. You said, I've been open my whole life, and nothing has given me even the softest tap on the shoulder. If there were something out there, I find it very unfair that I've been as open-minded and quiet as I have, but it denies me guidance to its truth.
Yeah. It's like I'm just missing that hardware, apparently. Or it's just not real.
There's another possibility, yeah.
Well, and Alex pretty much guaranteed that if you followed this process, right, that it would work. He didn't say you had to be, you know, sincere or...
right, you didn't have to be a believer
you didn't
for
have
this
to,
work.
already believe in it before you
We
can
did
believe in it.
clarify that on the call, yeah.
And you followed the procedure, and we're open to whatever happened.
The only thing that I think I'm missing is just that pre-established faith, and especially in a specific God, because it wasn't just, hey, God, show yourself to me, but it was, Jesus Christ, I believe in you, please show yourself to me. Right. So I'm just missing that. Apparently you have to have the faith before he'll show himself to you, which is a catch-22. I can't have something until it's been proven to me. I'm just stuck here without it.
Yeah, I mean, according to Alex, though, because we did go through that, because there was a point in the call where I interpreted him to be saying that you had to believe before you did the test, which of course I thought was, well, that's very biased. And he corrected me and said, no, that was not what he was saying. So that question did come up, and Alex did clarify that this should work for non-believers as well, that was not a disqualifier. So I appreciate you calling. Do you have any other thoughts on it?
No, well, see, I did make that video saying, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep like a video diary along the way. But yeah, I decided not to do it because it felt like it was disingenuous to the test.
Wow.
I felt like in doing that, I was thinking about myself, and I was thinking about an audience listening to me. So I just seemed too much like I was getting wrapped up in my ego again. So I decided not to do that. And I really didn't want to even mess with my phone or social media in any way. So I decided to abstain from that too, because it felt like it was kind of ruining the challenge to do that.
Yeah, I really felt, I mean, and this is not to disparage Jason or Joshua, but I really felt that of the three that volunteered, that you seemed to really throw yourself into it and take it, you know, more seriously, I guess, as I'm really going to do this, and I'm not going to do it wrong. And that... I'm going to do something to do it the right way. Yeah.
You could do a video blog now that it's over and the test is completed, just to describe what it was like. I think that would be really interesting.
It would. You could end with this phone call.
Well, I got put in Facebook jail immediately after I came back for outing a harassment.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too. So.
And then I left. Now I'm out of town, so I'll get to it eventually.
No, I thought it was very interesting, and I very much, like as with Jason and Joshua, I appreciate so much your willingness to do this. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your week. Thanks for your willingness to discuss it. And I think we'll go ahead and let you go.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tracie.
Bye.
This is fascinating. I know it wasn't the intent of the experiment, but the idea of that she brought up of how attached we are to social media and to checking things, and just from that viewpoint alone, what's it like detaching from that, and how much more stuff you get done, how many more things you've been putting off around the house, how productive you are when you're not kind of immersing yourself in social media every, 10 minutes.
I just want to, this is, and Tracey's not on the phone right now, and I don't want to misrepresent anything, but I did have an opportunity to meet her in person once, and my impression was that she is kind of a very, like, I'm introverted. Well, I consider myself introverted, and she was far more like me on, introversion on steroids. It was, and I'm not saying that she's not, she's assertive. I mean, she's not unassertive, and then I hope people don't misunderstand what introversion means. It's just that she's very, very okay being isolated. She doesn't really need that social interaction that much. She likes a lot of, alone time, and so that's, I think, what she described slightly was this is why she thought she might be a good candidate for the test, because this is kind of already her nature.
Right.
So that was, I don't know, that was just kind of an interesting little test, I guess, just kind of running it and seeing what would happen.
Yeah.